Yeah, maybe.
Just didn't find it.
All right, good evening, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for coming out on this not so pleasant evening, but at least the snow stopped. Hope everybody must have fared well because y'all got here anyway. This is our regular agenda meeting. Pretty much none of our staff is here. Our town attorney's not here tonight, so I told him that I'd try not to muddle anything up without him here. We'll see. I want to take a minute to welcome our new deputy town supervisor, Pete Shaw. So he has agreed to serve. So welcome him. We'll start with salute to the flag and some moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. First, well, we are taking action on one item. I'll accept a motion to, entertain a motion to accept the town clerk minutes for our January 5th meeting.
So move.
Any second? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next up, comments from town residents. Let's come up to the, yep.
Hi, my name is Dan Cornell, of Maple Forest HOA president. I want to thank the board for putting number 11 on the agenda. I'll just briefly make a comment of why we requested that. It's a very heavy traffic area because we're interconnected with the Knolls. It's a very dark corner because there's no other lights from our neighborhood that extend out towards the road. And there is a certain crest in the road, we have to slow down, and it becomes a little dangerous at night. What else? So we're hoping we can work with the board. We've done some research with NYSEG, but thank you for consideration of agenda number 11.
Of course. I know.
Same Dan Cornell, who I know. Danny, how you doing? Good. Long time. Looking good.
Anybody else? Well, there will be another Nancy?
Say
Oh,
something now. Even though I don't need this, I'm Nancy Federa, and I'm sorry to say that I don't know people as well as I used to on this town board. I've been with the town of Malta for over 34-ish years, planning department for about 20, and then at 2010 I went over to the highway department, and we were all very interconnected at one time, but our town is growing, as we all know. I just wanted to introduce myself so you got a face to match with the name. Everybody matches my voice already to the name. So can hear me when I walk in. But I'm interested in being the deputy receiver of taxes and to help out the water department, doing bills with her. And as I retire from one part of the town, I'd still like to be involved in others. So, hi, everybody, and thank you.
Thanks, Nance.
Thank you, Nancy.
And Nancy's been an institution around here, so.
Where's my walker?
Anybody else? All right, next up, we have comments from town board and department heads. I will start. I have a brief report about the tower, New York State Police Tower. On February 14th, he had a meeting that was arranged by Assemblywoman Carrie Warner to discuss the placement of the tower. There were actually 6 representatives from the New York State Police and the lawyer from Crown Castle, who was originally here and did the presentation about the tower they plan to build, Carrie and a staff member, and me. The meeting actually lasted nearly 2 hours, and I believe that the state police are earnest in their efforts to prevent the tower from being placed on the Dunning Street site, if at all possible. Previously, I had offered 2 locations as possibilities. They were both deemed to be technologically unsuitable. The one at LFTC, they said, was too far away, and the one in Round Lake, the tower itself was already fully loaded up with stuff. I did then offer a third option, which I have not really discussed with my fellow board members, and of course, it would require their approval if this becomes an option, and that is to place the tower here on this site. I worked with the maintenance department to figure out where that might be a suitable site, and we decided that there is a suitable site on this campus. I sent them the coordinates, and they are looking to see whether or not it's technologically feasible. I mean, one thing about it is, we're not that far from where they're planning to put the other one. It seems like if that one would be technologically feasible, it seems to me like this one would be, but who knows? It's on the south side of this campus, so, we're waiting on that. Like I said, I can't really unilaterally decide that. It would have to be a decision by this board, but they're going to check it out, and then we'll have a chance to discuss this. But even more promising, at the very end of the meeting, one of the representatives from the state police had a suggestion of a possible solution that everybody in the room agreed would be the best path forward. I can't really say a lot about it because it's kind of in the works. But Carrie Warner is following up on it. It's, in my opinion, it's very promising. Everybody was very enthusiastic. But I hope to have an answer about whether or not that moves forward before our next agenda meeting, or maybe sooner. So we're just waiting to hear back from one party. But, so I think there's hope. At least I'm encouraged. So as soon as I get some sort of feedback, I'll make sure that we let everybody know. So it was a good meeting. I was really encouraged. I think I was encouraged. I thought it was a good meeting. And the people that were in the meeting from the state police were actually people that can make decisions. They weren't just, I know, that's a start. So, what else? Okay, a couple of things. I want to take a minute to recognize today this was a difficult snowstorm, and of course our highway department started working. I have no idea what time they went out noon yesterday. Right. So long day. They did a good job. We get a lot of positive feedback on our roads during a snowstorm. So, want to point that out. The other group that worked hard and long hours is our maintenance department. Our maintenance department takes care of all of our facilities and snow removal. And they, of course, did a good job because y'all got here. Nobody fell in the parking lot on the way in. So there's that. We canceled the workshop regarding Silver Beach because the town attorney is unable to be here. They got caught up in travel problems trying to get back. So hopefully they make it back sometime soon. Last but not least, something I want to discuss with the board, we got and I think you all have it picked up, maybe Craig, you haven't, the revised submittal regarding the PDD, 2554 Route 9. We've been calling it AMR. So I want to set up another workshop to meet with them. Staff thought that it would be better to have that just as a standalone workshop, so we're not constrained by time. I'm kind of recommending that we do it on February 9th at 4 o'clock. And for Alex and Don, the previous board liked to all have all our meetings on a Monday night. We're not tied to Monday night. If there's a better night for this workshop for everybody else, then let me know, but that's my first shot at it.
Yeah, I'll check my calendar and make sure that February 9th works for me. It's usually that far in advance, I
Yeah.
should be able to just move stuff around, so we should be good.
I propose them generally for 4 o'clock because staff has to be there, mostly for the convenience of staff, so that they have to stay a little late, but they don't have to go home and come back. Is anybody, is that gonna work for you, Greg? February 9th, 4,
The date, yes.
yeah. Barb?
I think so.
Okay. Well, I'll have Melissa send something out so we get a real confirmation tomorrow from everybody about it. That's all I have. Anybody else?
The words right out of my mouth about highway and streets, they did a great job. Even some of the trails have been done. So I want to thank Terry and his crew, and everyone at the highway department. Did a great job.
I'll continue that sentiment. Thank you to all of our town staff for just how your response was during our wonderful blizzard here in 2026. So go enjoy the snow now, I guess, or stay inside. The other thing that I wanted to mention, because I just wanted to just make sure that you as the residents were aware. So 2 Fridays ago, I met with a man by the name of Sumit Gupta. He's with Five Corners Development. I met him in December before Christmas at a campaign event with Kerry Warner's reelection. If I understand it correctly, him and his company are the ones under contract to potentially purchase the land up at the Malta Speedway. To my knowledge, there's nothing concrete about that purchase. But regardless, he wanted to sit down and talk to me about his proposed idea for what he wanted to do to the site. Again, nothing is confirmed. He was just telling me his position and everything, and I wanted to convey that back to you, the residents, just to make you aware of what was going on my end. So it was a productive meeting. I think he at least has a good idea that is at least worthwhile to consider through our planning staff and other town employees here. So I don't know what will come of this, but again, I just wanted to let all of you aware of what was going on, at least in my neck of the woods.
Just as a clarification of that, the town of Malta has received nothing else from them since the original. So we don't, there's nothing right now, no plan, nothing submitted or moving forward.
Exactly. He wanted to just, because he knew that I was new to the board, he wanted to just give me his ideas, but again, there's nothing concrete with that. Who knows what will happen?
Phone. A microphone. Somebody's telling me you need to talk into a mic. There you go. All right, anybody else? All right, we'll move on to tonight's discussion items. First one, the agenda says to set a public hearing next week to extend the local law for the moratorium for 2 months. As you know, we have been in a local moratorium. We adopted the moratorium legislation in May of last year. It was a 6-month moratorium. The work wasn't done at the end of 6 months. We had an additional 4 months. 2 weeks ago, and talking with the town attorney, we thought we were going to have to extend it, but we had a meeting last week with our consultant, and they seem to think that we have a path to adopt the legislation before the moratorium expires. So what that is what we're doing now. The zoning legislation is complete. It's been complete for a couple of months. It's been reviewed and sent back and reviewed and sent back. So that part of it is done. We had, it's been a year we've been working on it. What is being drafted now is the town-wide generic environmental impact statement. And what that is it takes all of the possible changes that we're proposing in zoning, and it identifies all of the possible environmental impacts, so that if a project comes forward, we've got this townwide GEIS that if it meets the criteria of that, there's no other secret review that needs to be done as a result of the State Environmental Quality Review Act. So that's what's being done now. The two are not really independent of each other, but they don't need to be acted on at the same time. So what they're recommending, Barton and LaJudas, is that at our meeting next week, we set a public hearing for both to review the environmental impact statement and the legislation, the rezoning legislation for February. So the public hearings would be at our February 23rd meeting. Before that meeting, I'm proposing February 19th, we'll have a public information center session in this room. So before the public hearing, the public will be able to come in and see exactly what the changes are that we're proposing in the zoning. And I will say, the proposed changes are not overly cumbersome. There's not widespread rezoning. I mean, really, the biggest change of it is we're proposing significant areas of town, specifically in the Drummond Creek watershed, to be rezoned as land conservation, which limits what can be done in those. A couple of other, I hesitate to say, minor. They're not necessarily minor, but they're not sweeping rezoning anywhere. But we would have a public information session so the public can come, see what the proposed changes are, and then make their remarks at the public hearing on the 23rd. And then we could, make the secret determination and adopt the zoning legislation on March 2nd. And then concurrently, Barton and LaJudas will also continue to work on the townwide GEIS, and we can adopt that at a separate time. Which that will be done too also, except that there's, so we had planned on adopting it all together, except that the GEIS apparently needs to be published for 30 days in some trade magazine. I can't remember what the name of it is, if anybody out there is watching and can clue me in. And so, because that's 30 days, it puts us past the end of the moratorium. And so I would like to ask this board to adopt the legislation on March 2nd and avoid extending the moratorium.
Is it possible to get a copy of these changes
All of,
for them?
well, first of all,
Or the-
all of it is on the website, on the planning and zoning, but I'll have Melissa, we'll find, at least the executive summary. And, I can print the whole 167 for you, but all of this is available. The red line version of the code, the executive summary are all available on the town website.
And it's filed under what?
It's on the planning department page, and then it says something on one of the menus on the side. It says rezoning or,
And it's all in one package like?
yeah. The GE,
I am concerned about our density here in town still, so.
it's on the building and planning page. If you can't find it, call and we'll get you on there.
I will call them.
And the townwide GEIS needs to be published in the Environmental Notice Bulletin. So it's a DEC publication. And Melissa says she'll send you a link tomorrow. See, they're not here, but they're really here. So, any other questions about that? Don't hesitate to ask. Don't hesitate to come in and talk to planning if you have any questions about any of the, it was basically this has been in effect, the comprehensive plan was adopted, I think, in the summer of 2023. And so this board has worked very hard on the rezoning all of 2024. And planning staff has worked very hard. So I hope it's time we move that forward. Any questions from my colleagues regarding that? Next on the agenda, we talked about this last week, Mountain View Estates, or Mountain View Meadows. They are requesting that we allow them to have some building permits. The road has been constructed, and we're not proposing to take dedication to the road. Once, we have to take dedication of the road before they can get building permits, is what our code says. So the developer has asked, they don't want to dedicate the road before April 1st, which is also in our road standards, but they'd like to be able to build a couple of houses. So I think we talked last week about giving them 10 permits. Our town attorney only wants to give them 5. The developer agreed to 5. So hopefully next week I will have a resolution giving a waiver for them to be able to pull 5 building permits and start selling some homes down there. Any further questions on that?
Yeah, I have a quick question about that. So I know that he can't get building permits until the road is dedicated. He is allowed, if I am understanding correctly, he does get one for a model home.
Right, you can build a model home.
So he already has the ability to build one building during this, winter time. And so he's looking for it, well, he was asking for 10, you're saying 5. Not for anything, I guess, in my thought on this, all right, we put in a resolution for the end of this month. Now we're gonna be, well, I guess will be the end of February.
It'll
start
be
of
the beginning of February.
Start of
Be
February.
February 2nd.
It's only 2.5 months. Is it really,
Well, he can't sell them. He can't sell anything. He'd like to be able to start marketing them.
could he not do it off of the model home?
No. If he can't say he's gonna start building, he can't. There's no guarantee there.
All right.
So, it's not unprecedented. It's been done before.
I don't agree with asking 10. 5 is a lot more reasonable of a value. So, and my concern is just, I'm being overly cautious. It's just
Yeah, why
winter
not wait 2
construction.
months? Yeah.
So, that's it.
If he's asking for these 5 extra permits,
But they're not, right, right.
excuse me?
I was gonna say they're not extra permits. It's not extra homes in the thing. It's just
Well,
permits to be able to start building down there.
right. Has the road and the sewer and the drainage,
Well,
is there any issues at all
well,
that he hasn't corrected?
our engineer has certified that the road is complete and
road.
constructed to our standards and all of the infrastructure. And they've
All the
provided,
infrastructure?
yep, they've provided videos of the drainage throughout the drainage system. So,
Because I do know, I have heard that there are houses there that are flooding in cellars now that have never, ever been flooded before.
well, I would
It's
have,
a real concern to me.
I would
I
have,
mean, is that more due to just the intensity of our rainfall events that happen these
I
days?
kind of would have
Never
thought
happened.
somebody would have called me, and nobody's called me about that, but, I mean, there are only 2 that could even possibly be affected.
They're in that area
They would have called me.
across the street.
Across the street? Well, I don't know anything about that. No one's called my office. So if you want to give me their names, I'll be happy to give them a call and see what's up.
I will.
I am hoping that our highway superintendent agrees that he's going to take dedication of that road in April. So we'll have to see about that. But as I say, our engineer has certified that the road is, in fact, the on-site inspection guy has said it's a beautiful road. So,
Has Roger been out to the site yet?
oh yes,
Okay.
many times. And he has everything he needs to make that decision. Hopefully
I
he's
have also.
watched all the movies.
I've watched the inspectors out there.
Anything more on that? We're not going to talk about the Malta Athletic Association license agreement because our town attorney is not here and our director of Parks and Recs. So we're going to push that off to the next meeting. Oh, this is kind of interesting, too. Our Malta Lake Improvement Committee has recommended a name. This name was, we had a park naming contest, and it was submitted, this was a name that was submitted to the park naming contest. The committee narrowed down the top selections to a few. The top 4 selections were brought to the Mangino family for their opinion. And after much discussion, everybody's in agreement that this name represents both the vision of the park and the history of the Mangino family, where they're recommending that it be named Observation Point at Mangino's. Point with an E, so in case you're wondering. I think we have to have a resolution by this board. So if everybody agrees, we'll pass a resolution and get the name, and then we're going to start looking for commissioning a sign to be built, hopefully. Any objection to Observation Point at Mangino's?
I have none.
I also included in your packet, just to get another look, the former board had an opportunity to look at these, the recommended rules for the park. There's a lot of them. Open dawn to dusk, carry in, carry out, garbage, leash dogs, stay within the park boundaries, because the neighbors down there were worried that our park users were going to wander into their neighborhoods. No swimming or diving, no motorized vehicles, no drugs, alcohol, firearms, fireworks, no smoking or tobacco use, no bonfires, no glass bottles, no camping, no overnight parking, no mass gatherings. We talked about adding no fun, but decided not to put that in. So yeah, those were the rules that if this board actually approves, we'll have a sign made up.
Well, I have 2 comments on that. The glass bottles one, I think is a little, how can we even enforce that? You're gonna have a fun police officer sit there, and if someone has a glass bottle of juice.
I mean, to be honest, how do we enforce anything,
Well,
really?
And I guess further to the point, Chittenden Park's rules don't have any clauses about glass bottles. I don't see why we need to make an exclusive law for one of these parks. And the no mass gatherings, I personally don't agree with that. It's a park, it's a public park on our town land.
Oh, well, mass gathering means, 200 people,
Yeah,
500. She says 500 people,
Oh, all right.
right, which,
If that,
yeah.
yeah, if it's a definable
I mean, if you
term.
want to have a family picnic down there,
All right,
go
well,
for
that's
it.
what I was
Right.
concerned, like, you
That's
can have
not
a
a mass-
barbecue with
that's not a
100
mass
people.
gathering.
And all right.
Does that include no diving also?
Well,
Just making sure
the-
now,
the,
before we find out
um,
when it's too late.
the shoreline will be blocked off now. Just another, for now, with, fencing that somebody can get around if they need to, but it will not be accessible to anybody unless, like I say, you can climb over the fence. But another update, remember we were waiting for we had some work that needed to be done down there on the shoreline, and we needed a DEC permit, and we got the permit. I believe that work has been done. Our contractor, Evolution, was down there last week. I have not been down there to look and see if it's actually completed, but I think that's done. So I think we're looking at being able to have a late spring, grand opening, hopefully. It's a passive park. There won't be really any amenities down there, a couple of picnic tables. Eventually, maybe we'll get some girls, and then the committee is looking into possible future improvements up here, maybe some sort of enclosure, permanent bathrooms. But we'll be looking for funding for that. So it's pretty exciting. It's been a long time coming. And we're kind of building a park on a shoestring, trying to do it without spending too much money. Any questions on that? The upcoming things are pretty routine. We have our parade every year. We need to request from the DOT that we close Route 9 for the parade. The parade is going to be on May 9th, so we'll have a resolution about that. We hired a significant number of staff for our summer program, and we have to approve the salaries for those. They're all up a little bit from last year.
I did the math if you're interested.
Yes?
It's all between 2.8 and 3.2%, so let's just say 3% for the sake of averages here, compared to our national inflation rate, that's between 2.5 and 3.3%, so it all
Right
seems-
in line there.
Exactly,
Yeah.
it seems pretty routine to me.
So you'll recall that our receiver of taxes resigned as of the beginning of the year, and we appointed the deputy receiver as the receiver of taxes. So now she's requesting that we appoint we appoint Nancy Federa as the deputy receiver of taxes. She's going to retire, but we can't get rid of her, so we're recommending, we're recommending that we appoint the deputy receiver, Nancy Federa, so there'll be a resolution about that next week. Any discussion, questions? Our longtime auditor, I can't think of what his name is now, Ken Cusack, retired. He's been doing our auditing for probably 25 years or more. So he's familiar with our books, but he retired. So our comptroller is recommending that we engage Mengel, Metzger, Barr and Company to do our 2026 town audit. Any questions about that? One of our justices is requesting that we allow him to go to the New York State Association of Towns Conference in New York City. So we'll have a resolution about that. We have, the town of Malta offers our volunteer firefighters a service award program. It's called LOSAP. I have no idea what that stands for. Length of Service Awards Program. And they have actually, we've always had a committee, but they also have requested that we evaluate possibly increasing the amount of that, because it's been the same from the beginning, and things are getting a lot more expensive. So we're going to we will establish that committee. We didn't do it during the organizational meeting because we weren't sure who was actually going to be sitting on it. Some of the people that had been on the committee are no longer active. You're still here. But some of the firefighters. So I believe Pete Shaw has a list of members of the volunteer fire companies that we're going to add to the list. So we'll have those names for you next week. And last but not least, what the audience is looking for is streetlight at the corner of Long Hill and Maple Forest Drive. First of all, if you wonder if there needs to be a light there, drive down there sometime after dark. It is very dark. And like they said, it is, when I was there in the fall, a lot of traffic comes through and goes into Country Knolls. And so they had asked her earlier for a light. Remember when we did the two, we did one at Cedar Point and we did one at, I think, Taddeo. What happens is NYSEG will actually install the light at no cost to the town of Malta. We just have to pay the power bill. I think, I don't have the comptroller here to say, but I think it's like $10 a month.
Very small.
She just doesn't like it because she gets lots of different power bills that have to be paid.
Separate bills.
Separate bills. I don't know why we can't get them all on the same. But I did confirm with NYSEG that it would be the same program. They would install the light. I sent the poll number to them and they send us back the application. So if this board agrees, we'll have a resolution next week to install a light at Long Hill and Maple Forest Drive.
I have no standing opposition to this. I'm just more curious, is there any perceived negative to taking this action forward? Is there anything that could be, like, this seems like a done deal?
Well,
Yeah. It's just a street light, so it's like, what is the harmful impact if there is?
well, there's
any?
no harmful impact
right.
except next week 4 more may come and asking for lights, and, but that is, I believe, an intersection that arguably should have a light because it is very dark. There's no lights on the road. Other roads, there's other homes and things like that offer some lighting, but that road, there's no, the homes are all set way back and in developments. And so, like I say, if you agree, and your neighbor's going to be really happy because he's been nagging me about that for 2 years. So, Mark.
We got to keep Dan happy. too.
That's all I have, unless anybody else has any comments. It's another opportunity for the public to comment. Okay, Mr. Sloat first, and then Susan.
I'm not gonna cut it. Ladies.
He was already on his feet.
Woody Sloat from the forgotten part of town down near Exit 11. I heard you talk about.
Wait a minute,
the
are they in the forgotten part of town too? We didn't forget them.
149 Route 9P Park. I heard a couple things that I'm a little concerned about. Point, P-O-I-N-T-E, is in Ballet. I wasn't familiar that that was a point in land. Point in land is P-O-I-N-T. So maybe you should review that before you name something at a ballet for the park there. The other thing was the motorized vehicles. In the past, we've had problems like on the Zim Smith Trail where people have their own definitions. Electric bikes should be specifically either allowed or not allowed, if somebody could consider that. Okay? And other than that, you're having a workshop on Mangino Park. When's the next workshop on the court? Because Mangino's was still a restaurant when we started
We're
trying
not
to get
having a
the
workshop on Mangino's.
Pardon?
We're having a workshop on,
February 9th, you said.
on the PDD, the proposed PDD.
Okay, is there any workshops planned, I'm asking the whole board, for the court,
Regarding what?
repairing all the ADA non-compliance issues and
Oh,
wherever
actually,
we're
I
going to
should
go?
have
We
that on my
talked.
notes.
We talked last year at this time, and we came up with a plan, and now we've abandoned that plan. And at the last meeting that you talked about it, you said we have to look at other options. I'm not familiar with any options being mentioned to anybody at court.
With regard to the ADA
Regarding
compliance?
everything, corrections law, safety, everything. Is there a workshop plan is my question?
No.
Can we plan one, please?
I'm not quite sure what exactly we would be discussing. I mean, the ADA compliance is in the works. Terry has ordered new doors to replace the doors. They did, they improved the bathrooms by taking the stalls out to make them more ADA compliant. We will have a contractor to go out to bid to provide a new ramp on the south side of the building. I think we're making an effort to address all of the ADA compliance issues, and we did appropriate money in the 2026 budget for ADA
Yeah, I don't
compliance,
know if that's enough
specifically
money
for the
to
court.
repair all the things that are over there. I gave you an itemized list I can add to it. Did it go
We're
out
working off the list.
for bids as far as because I don't think Terry Barnes is going to do the ramp.
No,
Did that go out for bids?
that will be, it hasn't yet, but yes, that will go out for bid. So-
Okay. In other words, my point is we probably should have some meetings so at least the court staff knows where we're at with it. I was asked by the Office of Court Administration where we're at with it. So I'd like to report back to them. But I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Just in case anybody out there doesn't recall, we did entertain the possibility of actually building a new court, and the price tag was $6 million. So we kind of said, ooh, we don't really have that kind of money here in the town of Malta. So oh yeah, baby changing stations also have been installed in the court. So,
That's a New York law, that's not.
yeah. Anything else? Oh, Susan.
I wanted to thank you for your update regarding the tower. I did have a question. I'm not sure that you can answer because I'm not sure if they provided that information, but the other tower site that they looked at, was that in Luther Forest somewhere in the tech park?
It was in the tech park.
Okay.
Behind the Stewarts on 67.
Okay.
The town of Malta owns land there.
You don't know how far away that, oh, I can check that out.
She said it was a mile.
Okay, I guess I'm just,
Doesn't seem like it'd be a mile, but maybe it was.
yeah, and that thing that she told you about being a mile, I've been doing all kinds of research. I can find nothing anywhere that says there's a requirement for state police or any other technology to be only a mile from the location.
No, it wasn't about that. It was about proximity to other communication towers,
Okay,
that, how would they have to work? I mean, they gave us some detailed,
right.
instructions about, or, conversations about it. It was, but it had to do with proximity to other communications towers,
Okay,
because they
all
feed
right.
off each other, I guess.
It's like a
Is that
network
correct, do you
umbrella.
think? Anybody know anything?
I have no idea.
You guys know anything back there? No? And that was the reason.
Okay, and I just had one other quick question. Did it happen to come up at the meeting at all, Like what step of there's an actual process they have to go through before it's finally approved. Do we have any, they didn't go through secret yet, did they?
They have not, they're preparing the secret document. They did tell me that, for the existing site, they did say that there would be public input on the secret document, and they promised that. So I did give them your questions about that process, and they're supposed to be getting back to me about those.
Okay, because my only concern about that is that if, depending on what the result is from what happens with
Yeah.
the site here and there, I know we had talked before about a town resolution. If they go to the secret process and there's no town resolution saying that it's opposed, we're pretty much dead in the water.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure you're aware of that.
Yep,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
I'm hopeful. Of course, my dreams have been dashed before on things, but this one, I think there's hope.
How can they proceed with filing those documents if they're not sure where the tower?
Well,
be?
they're still a ways off from even preparing the,
Oh,
they just started the secret work on the existing site.
on the existing site.
Right,
Gotcha.
not where it is now, on the, moving it to the barracks, so.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks, everybody, for coming out.